Spokane listens when business talks. Welcome to Business Talks, the region's only local business talk show with your host, Ryan McNeice. Business Talks is brought to you by our friends at STCU and Well-Dressed Walrus. Now, let's get down to business with Business Talks.
Welcome to the show. I'm Ryan McNeice. We're here in the studio for Business Talks, and we're here with Peggy During and Hannah Mumm from Valleyfest. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for having us.
A bit of a snow day today. Welcome to spring in Spokane, right?
Almost March 1st, Ryan. Almost
we're
March 1st.
We're getting there. What we're going to talk about today is, Valleyfest has had amazing success over the years as an organization in itself. But what we wanted to discuss today is actually the Misspoken Valley Scholarship Program. And Hannah, you've been a recipient of being Misspoken Valley in 2016. And we'd already discussed you went to Central Valley High School.
I did.
Which is unfortunate because I went to U High. And so in terms of
there's
rivalry.
a split here.
Yeah. So we'll see how this goes. But
we'll have to see.
So as a 2016 Misspoken Valley, you were a part of the scholarship program yourself and benefited from the wonderful programs that have come from that.
I have.
But now you're the supervisor.
Yes.
Tell me about that and how that came to be.
So this came to be, I love Valleyfest. Peggy and I became friends when I was Misspoken Valley back in 2016. And I think this program just has so much to offer our community. And so this year was all about revamping it and kind of offering more opportunities to the girls. So we developed a 6-week training program, and we're working to increase the scholarships we offer within the community. We're working to offer more community service opportunities, and we're just working to get the girls out there more so that they can learn more professional and interpersonal skills.
Well, as a father of a daughter and the opportunities that are out there, and obviously a passion for seeing the success of my own kids and the kids in our community, what were you seeing in the program before that, not so much that was wrong with it, so to speak, but just constructively that you felt like you could improve on?
Right. Yeah, that's a great question. I think that the training in the beginning was so key because Peggy, we have these resources at our fingertips, and we have women in our community who are able teachers, and they're able to pass on their knowledge to a younger generation. And so I kind of looked at it and thought, we have all of these resources and this opportunity at our fingertips, and so why would we not offer that to our girls so that they can learn to be the best that they can be and discover their own strength through this program?
Well, I want to talk about some of the new elements to the scholarship program, but before that I want to go back and talk about what your trajectory or road to Misspoken Valley was. Obviously, you went to Central Valley High School, grew up in the Valley, and you're now at Whitworth. What led you to the program in the first place?
In 2016?
Yeah, or 2015 as you were moving towards the program.
Honestly, my mom found it in the newspaper. It was in the Valley Voices, and I was super scared and timid, and my mom made me do it.
Good for your mom.
My mom is awesome, yeah. So I'm so glad that she made me do it because I learned so much from it. And from participating, I learned the confidence to be able to participate in more and more.
That's exciting.
And so, public speaking and interpersonal communication skills are all things that I learned through Misspoken Valley. And I later went on to participate in the Spokane Lilac Festival Association as a princess.
So you did that as well?
I did, yeah. Wow. And then now at Whitworth, it's coming in handy because all of my jobs, I'm a tour guide and an overnight host, things like that. And so all of these skills are so important that I began developing in the Misspoken Valley program.
Is it safe to say, and I think you're describing that really well, that these were talents that you had that you didn't necessarily believe in yourself that you had?
Absolutely.
But through, whether it be this organization or what you're experiencing at Whitworth, you get this opportunity to I can do this. I can do this.
That discovery moment.
Yeah. I think we all have that. There's plenty of fear in what we all do in our daily lives, but then all of a sudden you do it and you're like, okay, maybe the anxiety in terms of doing something was more than the actual doing. But it sounds like programs like this allowed you to kind of enter into different things that you didn't necessarily know that you were going to do.
Exactly. Yeah, they have so much potential to help girls discover what they can be and what they can do and the kind of imprint they can make on their community, and I think that's really powerful.
What are the different aspects to the competition? And let me ask, has that changed over the years in Misspoken Valley, or has that part been fairly consistent in terms of the actual areas in which the competition has?
So I can only speak to from 2016 on. It's always been a scholarship competition and not a beauty pageant. So my year, for example, we did an interview, and then we did a speech, and then we presented, our activities at school, what we're involved in, a talent, and then from there we were crowned and given scholarships. This year, we have a more extensive application process because we are offering the resources to fill out that application.
Right, and who might not only benefit from it, but actually wants to benefit from it.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're asking for more in that application process. And then we are, again, doing the panel of judges for the interview, and we're asking the scholars to give a speech. They'll answer a couple of onstage questions. Those aren't timed like they are typically in beauty pageants. So they have as long as they want to explain the questions we'll ask about women in our community, making a difference, volunteerism, things like that.
And so they can flesh out the question in multiple directions without feeling like the Oscar music's going to start.
Like I have to answer this in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah.
And you brought out some good points, and I think one of my sincere questions would be, what is, in fact, the difference between a pageant and the scholarship program? And you've described some. Is there more aspects to that the general listener would be like, okay, what is it? What's the difference?
So some images that I can come up with to kind of help draw the line, and there are so many programs out there that it's hard to say this one is and this one isn't.
Right.
But the swimsuit portion would belong to a beauty pageant, evening gowns, the time limit on the amount of, response you're allowed to give to a question.
Right.
Scholarship competition, at least ours, will be conducted in business wear. We think that makes it more accessible to more girls because evening gowns are expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
And more of a potential correlation to that next step in that young woman's life, whether it be occupation, education, organizations they're a part of. I can see the relevance there.
And there isn't a fitness portion to it either. More of it is on public speaking and being able to tell your story. And that was what's very powerful about listening to the girls from Hannah's year and the subsequent years has been the very powerful stories the girls have told about their lives or how they feel about living in the city of Spokane Valley is the question that they have to
This actually
answer.
Intrigues me to more of an extent maybe than I even would have thought in terms of that difference between the two, because I think we all grow up historically understanding that what these classic pageants have been, and I think, without speaking out of line, because I don't probably know enough to say either, but it seems like our culture has gone away from that to a certain extent, and more into some more relevance, if you will, with the style that you're describing. Do you believe, is this when you started doing the program this way, do you feel like the impetus for this was to move along that line and do something different when you first set out to do the pageant or the program?
We started out with just one girl, basically, it was before Hannah.
Yeah.
And
we're not suggesting you were the only one.
Right. and we've continued.
So Hannah won in 2016.
That's
nobody before or since. It's just Hannah.
Yeah, this is a very specific.
Yes. But it's evolved from just myself and a few volunteers to what level that we're taking it to this year with Hannah. And I really think that her education from Whitworth and the work and preparation that she's been putting into it is going to be a noticeable change, an upgrade, shall we say, or a change with the times a bit.
Progress.
Momentum.
I do think it's more modern this year.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
And, again, I know as the father of a 14-year-old and seeing the different ages moving up, seeing folks having those kids see mentors at your age and in your roles, having been in the competition at high school, in the competition, moving through Whitworth and exemplifying these attributes, that's exciting for me, because it's the mentor concept that these younger girls are seeing. That's pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
That's cool.
Thank you.
And we're involving women in our community in the Spokane region in participating in these workshops.
Yeah, we host one empowerment workshop a week for 6 weeks until March 30th, which will be our scholarship competition.
Okay.
So last year we had, not last year, last week we had Catherine Morgan, who works with Bank of America, and she just gave us a wonderful workshop about resumes and workshopping, telling your story on paper. And this week we've got Linda Thompson, who's a city council member, to talk about public service. Next week we've got Dr. Heather Crandall from Gonzaga University. So we really have some awesome resources to teach real skills to these girls that they can use for their entire lives.
Have you found that reaching out to these individuals has been fairly successful, that these individuals are receptive to seeing that the progress in this program, that they too want to be a part of it?
Yeah, I was really, really impressed with how many people. I was expecting to get shut down a lot because, I've been cut from a no-cut sport. I'm used to it, Ryan. So
that's a whole other story.
It's a whole other story.
What sport was that?
This
was probably
we can't
Central
talk about
Valley
this.
High School.
It was.
Okay.
It was.
Yeah.
What were we talking about before I started?
Well, no, you were.
Hannah.
Well, no, you were.
Community engagement.
Yeah.
Yes, I was so impressed with people wanting to be in my program.
Yeah, well, you were specifically identifying that whether it's Catherine or otherwise, that you're reaching out to these individuals and you're not getting no's.
Right.
That's
They're
exciting.
super passionate and excited about being involved.
Yep. Well, I would certainly hope that those types of people, and the ones you mentioned, I know to the extent that they would be this way, that they see that they're in opportunity. They've had opportunities because of those that have come before them, in the same way all of us hopefully see that. And cliche or not, there's obviously a certain giving back role to be played. Certainly in Spokane Valley, Spokane as a whole, and hopefully in cities around the country. But wouldn't you agree, Spokane seems to do that pretty well?
They help kids. They want to mentor. They want to see the next generation come forward and take the leadership. They want to see it succeed.
Peggy, would you agree too? They want to see that, but also would love to see those same talented individuals staying here.
Oh, definitely.
Right? And
that's a passion of mine.
Right.
We have so much to offer in another program on that subject. But
Right.
yes, I really want our young people that we're educating so well here in the Spokane Valley and in the region to stay here from the universities that they attend and the trade schools that they're going to, that they can have a livable wage and are able to stay here in our area. I think it's great.
So much so that you actually gave me a bad time moving our law office from the valley to down. So I think we moved.
You crossed Havana.
I know. I was going to say, I think we moved about 11 miles, and you were very specific. I know, I'm of course kidding, but I think the point, that we're all making though is, if those resources are there and leaders in our community are doing what you guys are doing, there is a real excitement and interest in those people coming back. If that's not there, the overall vibe of that not being there, people leave and don't come back. It's exciting.
Don't you want to feel supported?
Yeah.
Appreciated? Nurtured?
Certainly hope so.
And that's what we had in our first workshop we had last week, and I think it'll continue through. Hannah came back to Valleyfest in January as an intern and put this program together. And she was given the telephone, and here you go.
Start dialing.
That's
a big deal. Actually, I want to come back to a couple of points, because that embodies actually the workshops that you're doing. People willing to do that, pick up the phone. A lot of people actually won't do that. Let's come back
skills
from.
Are scary.
They are.
Yeah.
You can talk about them, but people actually putting them into action is something significant. Let's take a short break and come right back, because I do want to talk more about the specifics of the program and the offerings to the young women here in the Valley. Thank you.
Hi, this is Curt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
I'm Jade Becker, and I'm a senior at Chewelah High School. I'm at STCU's Money Live event. In this scenario that we played today, I was a realtor. My spouse was a city worker. We had an 11-month-old child, and there was a lot of spending for that child, like diapers and formula, and had to buy toys and clothing. I'm very glad that I had this experience. It was super helpful. You need this to get far and ahead in life. I'm Jade Becker, and STCU is here for good.
The following is sponsored by our friends and community supporters at McNeice Wheeler Attorneys. McNeice Wheeler is a boutique law firm in Spokane, handling matters in both Washington and Idaho. Areas of law include business law, wills, trusts and estates, family law, personal injury and wrongful death, and real estate matters. For your full-service legal needs, contact McNeice Wheeler Attorneys.
We're back, and we're talking to Miss Spokane Valley 2016, but we're talking about Miss Spokane Valley Scholarship Program, and Peggy and Hannah. Right before the break, we were talking about the specific programs that the new scholarship is offering. And so I think what excites me is, as you indicated, this is a program that you've constructively looked at over the years and said, and as you've done, Peggy, with Valleyfest overall, how can we improve from last year and the year before, and each year provide something to our community that's something different and relevant. And I think, as Hannah, as you're describing as supervisor of the scholarship program, you're offering pieces that young women here in the Valley and and beyond need and are relevant. Let's talk about a couple of them. For instance, one of the first things is interview skills, and leaders in our community coming and speaking to these young women. Talk about what are they mentioning with regards to interview skills?
Yeah, so we have been working in January collecting different interview questions from all over the internet, various types of jobs, all kinds of different questions. We have Mackenzie Moody coming in to speak on that one. She recently got a new job with a new long title at a courthouse.
Right.
Yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed that I can't pronounce the whole title, but
It
if
works. She's an impressive individual
she
as well.
is. She's incredible. And so she'll be coming in to teach interviewing skills and giving feedback on that.
That's great. And I think, as we were saying in the first part of the show, younger women seeing these folks that have accomplished things that they too would like to accomplish is such a great mentor opportunity. And I think you guys are putting all those pieces together. Resume building, very similar to the interview skills, but how, in terms of resume building, how are you effectuating that? How are you teaching these people to have better resumes? How are you doing that?
Yeah. So resume building was last week with Catherine Morgan, and she's incredible. What she did was she came in with her resume and her story, told us about her career, the jobs she's had, how she got them. And we learned to see the resume as less of a bulleted list and more of a story. And I think she really drew all of us in a way that allowed us to see the resume as something that wasn't just a boring, I have to do this for a job. It was, this is a tool I can use to continue my journey.
A phrase that I've heard within at least the legal industry and probably beyond is the non-resume resume. And it's that concept of, and I think, Hannah, you just hit the nail on the head in terms of you're reading through the bullet points. You're like, yes, like those. You're glad to see it, obviously. It's kind of a check-the-box type scenario. But then there's always something, hopefully, I think, in a good resume, where there's something more there that's kind of the non-resume that might not necessarily be a normal bullet point that actually is one of the most important things on there that says something about the candidate, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And Catherine gave this program to girls who are 15, 16, and 17 who hear of a resume as something that's way over the top.
Right.
You know, we have an online job application at a fast food joint. So that's their experience
Right.
of an or what you're going to do with your life. And Catherine went back further and said, you know, when you're building your story and your life, that's part of your story, that you worked there or you took leadership at the fast food place or you were a crew boss or you were able to start a food drive in high school and you were most outstanding or what
Yeah, you win debates. So many of these girls were coming forward with these
tangible
Yes.
items that I think as folks that have been in respective industries can really grab onto, and it kind of illustrates the qualifications of these young women that, wow, like you said, food drive or debate or what have you, these points really stand out as that's saying something about this particular candidate.
about your character, about how you're willing to work on a team, how you're willing to learn something new, how to go beyond what's expected of you. And that's what you want to show in telling your story when it comes to a resume. So
Peggy, I couldn't agree with you more. And it's the same, I think the same point with cover letter, if you will. Obviously, the resume to a certain extent is the more bullet point. The cover letter, I think, is where you're describing, you can elaborate to a certain extent. We had a recent, kind of anecdotal, but a recent interview with a candidate that indicated that they spent a summer cleaning porta potties. They said, well, are you familiar with Honey Bucket? And I said, Honey Bucket, the porta potties? Yeah, well, I spent a summer in college cleaning porta potties. I'm telling this story because that clearly stood out that, wow, this person, to attain their goals and get from A to B or wherever they were going, was willing to do a job like that. It said something, right?
Yes.
So that cover letter is important.
Yeah.
Tells a story.
So, and having young women that are in high school telling their story, it helps them build their story. They're going to have college applications or they're going to have other goals after high school that they're going to be able to use their story in getting a position out of high school or to get accepted
Right.
someplace. So I thought I think these are valuable tools, and it also makes it. Well, I wasn't
very pragmatic.
Very pragmatic, and you don't have to be the student body vice president and the class valedictorian to have value. You are a valuable human being. You have a good story to tell, and we want to hear it.
I love it. I really do. It's something different. It's something refreshing, different, and about time.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
I agree.
And I think it's a perfect segue into other pieces of your program, which is the personal branding, social media, and I'll kind of put those together. To me, the social media and personal branding, because you got to be careful with one or the other. Your personal branding could be very affected, good or bad, from social media. Tell me a little bit about that. Who do you have coming in to discuss that?
So we have Dr. Heather Crandall coming in from
That's right.
Gonzaga University. She's a
Perfect.
communications professor.
Yeah. Well, perfect
Yeah.
fit there.
Yeah, we're very
Yeah,
excited.
we were, I think, mentioning during the break the social media, obviously lots of positive attributes, but with programs, as we're discussing with the scholarship, there are opportunities to exponentially grow the awareness of the scholarship. Have you found that with social media with Valleyfest?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
That's fantastic. 20 years ago, let's go back to, 1995 is longer than 20 years ago. Time flies. You couldn't have done that. We were mentioning word of mouth. Yes, it works. It's always worked. But with the advent of social media, at least hopefully in a positive regard, you can exponentially tell these stories.
And that's how we're reaching a lot of the young women through their friends and family on Facebook, and they're then linking someone else's name in the comment section.
Like
Facebook
so
and
and so
Instagram.
should check
Check
this
this
out.
out.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so there's like
great.
leads going through the whole
Yeah.
social media situation.
I always call it the ball of yarn. It's just it's all woven together, and I think when you're talking about positive opportunities like this, it's exciting. clearly there could be a negative side to social media, but this is exciting. Whitworth, I think I neglected to ask you what, obviously volunteering and doing what you're doing with Valleyfest, but what is your thoughts about majors at the moment, or is it too early to think about that?
Okay, so when I give my majors, people are always like, okay, what are you going to do with that?
Like, oh, that's a good start. No.
Yeah. So you got to bear with me here,
Yeah,
okay?
okay.
So my majors are in English and French language.
I like that.
My minors are in women's and gender studies, political science, and theology.
I think every one of those actually is applicable. Again, my background is business in the legal world. Every single one of those, I've seen applications and or colleagues that come to the table with those particular attributes.
And I'm just
The
passionate about them.
theology and psychology, I think, is more than half of the legal. There's the law, there's statutes and case law, et cetera, but the psychology and background and storytelling and the parables that are in theology, massively critical.
Yeah.
I think that's exciting. My wife was a French major too.
Was she really?
Yeah.
Oh,
She was going to be a
one.
vet. Now she's a teacher.
Okay.
So the English, the French, it all comes together.
It all comes together.
It's exciting. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
We chatted about this about probably a month back to try to set this up, and we picked an extremely snowy day to try to make it work.
We did. It's a winter wonderland out there.
Thank you both. We look forward to seeing how this program continues to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
See you next time.
Business Talks is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Ask a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Business Talks is brought to you by our friends at STCU and Well Dressed Walrus. Business Talks wishes you good business and a good day.